In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to write and script a comic book / manga. Here we go. Drawn Talk! Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Drawn Talk. It's your boy Tyler. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to write and script your comic book / manga / webcomic. Now, in episode 1, we talked about the importance of making intentional decisions in terms of your comic book, your manga, and your webcomic. In episode 2, we talked about the tools that you'll need in order to make your sequential story. In episode 3, we talked about how to make good characters that are going to make your readers go, huh? And so now in episode 4, we're going to be talking about how to script and outline your comic book / manga. Now, before you even get into the script, these are some things that I do personally. Before I even script my comic / manga, there are 3 things that I do. Number 1, I create a character sheet. A character sheet is basically like my character Bible. Basically, in essence, it's I list out all my characters and I list out their motivations, their personalities, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, and basically who they are as a character. By creating this character sheet and the descriptions of these characters, it keeps me, consistent in my writing with them, so I don't go, off character in certain moments. You feel? The second thing that I do before I script is I create an entire series summary. What does that even mean? Essentially, I just start typing, and for me, this is like the best part of making a comic book because it's the easiest and it's kind of lazy. But basically, in essence, I just type from the beginning of my series, and I just say all the things that I want to happen, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this happens, and then this happens, and I do it all the way until I have the ending of my series. Here's the question: should you know the ending of your series before you even start it? I know this is a huge debate. For me personally, I would rather know the ending of my journey so I know how to get there, instead of just writing and creating until I eventually stop somewhere. By knowing the ending of your journey, you can, throw out certain plot points and plot events that can build up to certain moments so that when you get to the ending, it's more rewarding for the reader. And it makes the reader go, wow, like they really planned this out. And then you can go, yes, yes, I did. The third and final thing I do before I start scripting is I break down my summary, and I break it down, and I split these moments into arcs or sagas. Now, what does that even mean? In comic books, whenever you do a storyline, it's called a comic book arc. For example, Batman the Court of Owls by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo is 12 issues long, and it is called the Court of Owls arc. Now, in manga, they do this as well, but they do it in sagas, where this could last anywhere from 50 to 100 chapters. Maybe even more. An example of this would be One Piece's Water 7 arc, which was, Water 7 saga, which was just this massive story within the manga. So arcs and sagas are massive stories within the story that you are making. So once I break down, the different arcs that I'm going to have in my story, I then proceed to outline within those sagas or arcs the different chapters that I'm going to need. For example, The Girl with the Mega Fist, the story that I'm working on throughout this entire video series, I've already split it out into several different sagas. The first saga that I'm going to be doing is the Training Saga, and it's going to take place within 22 chapters. Each of these chapters is going to be around 8 to 12 pages, depending on depending on the stories that I'm working on. By breaking down this saga, this comic book arc, into various chapters or issues, I know the beginning, middle, and end. I know where I need to get to in order to get to the next arc that I'm doing. Remember, it's important to be intentional whenever you're doing anything in terms of comic books, manga, or webcomics. So once I've come up with my character sheet, once I've come up with my summary, once I've broken that down into arcs and then chapters, I'm now able to grab chapter 1 of the series and then start scripting it. So what does a comic book script even look like? Now, everyone has their own ways of doing things, but typically what you'll see on a comic book script is the following: page 1, panel 1. That is like the famous thing that writers are always like, ooh, that felt good writing page 1, panel 1. That's what typically you'll see. So what you'll do is you'll have page 1, and then on panel 1, and on the panel section of all the pages, they're going to be descriptions. The descriptions are used for the artist. So you'll do panel 1. We see a city on fire. There's panel 1, and then panel 2 would be our hero is looking down at the city. He's on top of a skyscraper. Panel 3, our our character jumps down from the building. It's just descriptions of what these of what the art is going to look like in these panels. Now, writers, remember this: you can only do so many actions within a given panel. So, for example, if you're doing if you write, panel 1, Batman grabs his batarang from his pocket, lifts it through his head, and then throws it. Well, that's 3 different movements. So, and the artist is going to have a hard time interpreting that. So, the best thing to do would be to either split it up into 3 different panels, or figure out, okay, can I just show Batman throwing the batarang? Do I really need to show the prep of him grabbing it, putting it above his head, and then swinging it? Can I just have Batman go So yeah, after that, you'll then put captions. You'll even put narration boxes if you want, and then after that, you'll do dialogue. Now, dialogue is so important. Dialogue is what's going to make or break your comic book, besides the art. But in terms of writing the dialogue, this is what I mean. And I'm not even talking about if you can tell a good story with your dialogue. I'm just talking about you writing dialogue in terms of like the space it's going to take on the page. One time I worked with a writer, and he gave me a page that was 9 panels, which I was already like, that's a lot of freaking panels, but here we go. And then when I put the speech balloons within the panels, I realized that there was really no purpose of me even drawing this book, because all the speech balloons covered my art. So make sure that you're intentional with your dialogue. Does this dialogue need to be 5 sentences, or can it be cut down to like 10 words? Like, do we have to go into so much exposition, or can we just say what we need to say and push the story forward? So once you have your script, for each of your chapters or issues, after that you'll give it to the artist and you'll work with them, which is what we're going to be talking about in the very next episode: thumbnailing your pages. So that's really it in terms of what I do in order to plan out my comic, make the summary, outline it, split up into different arcs, and then actually write the script. Now, if any point in this video you're wondering, oh, I really wish that you had gone more in depth in the comic book making process, I do those kind of in-depth videos more on my Patreon, patreon.com/drawandtalk. We're starting at $2 a month. I do exclusive videos every single week, exclusive content daily, as well as I put comics on there for you to read. So I do those more in-depth videos on that channel, so go check that out, link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you like the video that we did in episode 5 of the series, which is going to come out next week. We're going to actually grab the script that we've written, and we're going to thumbnail the pages. We're going to start getting into the actual art of this comic, and we're going to be using the comic that I'm working on, The Girl with the Mega Fists. So really excited for that. Hope that you follow along. Remember to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Peace.